I want to slowly start tackling some jobs on this that I know are going to cause issue down the road. One of them is this pipe here. That is most definitely far from ideal, but I'm fairly certain that they are specific to this model only. But one pipe that isn't specific, I think it's the exact same as the Ferguson 20 TVO, or very close to it, this pipe here. So I'm going to have a go at removing that and going to fit on a new pipe. I'm also going to look for better jubilees, as I want to eventually fit the original style ones on. And the original style jubilees were all this type here, more so than anything modern. So we'll see if I have ones that will fit there. I'm draining some of the coolant out, just enough to get below the level of the cylinder head, and we should be good to remove that then. There's the old pipe off, and this is the new pipe. I think this is actually a Ferguson 20 diesel pipe for the same place on the Ferguson 20 diesel. So I'm just going to line that up, I'm going to mark it, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to try it for a fit. It seems to fit on here really well. So this pipe is just too soft and cracked. It's time expired, it's ready to burst. I cut a pipe like this, and I want to cut it nice and square right around. What I do is I stick in a 1/4 inch extension from a ratchet, we'll say, or socket, and then I tighten the jubilee around it, and that means when I cut that now, I have a nice band as a reference. Nice clean cut. So we'll try this for a fit now. So that's it fitted. It's a little bit too long, because you can see it's getting a bit wide here. It's always better to have it a little bit too long and a little bit too short. So what I'll do is I'll do that again, take it off, stick in the socket ratchet extension in there, put a jubilee around it, and I'll take off about 1/2 centimetre, about 5 or 10 mil. We'll see how we think roughly about that should sort it out. That's only me being fussy now, and just to keep this the right width. I don't want that pinched in there. It's not too pinched at all, but if it's anyway pinched with the heat, it will tend to crack down the road. So I'll just take a little bit more off it. That's a lot better. So I'm going to go with that. Now, when I'm down this far, I have to flatten the cylinder head here where it meets the thermostat housing. That's why I'm going to keep draining out this, because I did flatten this. I took it off and I put it on a sheet sandpaper and got that thermostat housing. It's aluminium, nice and flat. Made a new gasket for it. I think there's videos on that before. But there is a bit of pitting at the front of this head. And as I said before, it is hard to flatten it because of this stud here. That stud's very short. I don't want a chance taking it out or shearing it off, because it's curved under here. A bolt wouldn't look great under there. If I did have to drill it out and put in a nut and bolt or tap it. Well, I could tap it, yeah, but I'm trying to avoid all of that. I want to keep it as original as possible. So I am going to take off the radiator, because I want to try and tackle this as well. This is ready. It's gone completely hard. It's ready just to start cracking now and leaking. And I'm going to try and find a better hose pipe. I think this might be better. It's not the most presentable of hose pipes, but it's definitely a lot softer and a lot more flexible than this nearly gone plastic. So that's that sorted. It's a little bit better than this was ready to go. So I'm not going to go fitting it on fully. As I said, I am going to tackle this. This is the replacement pipe that I found. Seems to be the best fit so far. It fits really snugly on there. So I'm going to put the radiator back on now and see if it'll line up. Hopefully it won't be too kinked, and then I'll mark it with a marker and do the same thing. I'll put a jubilee on it, stick a socket in around the jubilee, tighten it up around it, and cut it then to size. So that's not going to work because I have my bracket in, and that bracket kind of locates the radiator. So there's going to be too much of a kink in that, so I'll try and find a better pipe and see if I can make that work. I cut off a bit off the end because it was too long for me to put in the socket, and I've marked roughly the angle that I need to go to cut around, so I'm able to now give it a go. So I'll stick in a 1/4 inch extension in there and put that in the vise, and then I'll be able to keep it still. There's a reasonably sharp cut there now, so that's what I do. And then at least when you have the socket in, you can twist it and you get another spin on it then, and you can cut it. So just a little trick. So now I have to do this end. When you have the socket in it, you can see exactly where you're going cutting. You can straighten it up a little bit before you tighten the jubilee. You can make sure your marks are lining up, and you can make sure that it's looking good and straight. That's how it's left. So you get a fairly nice cut, apart from when you meet here. So you have to loosen them and spin them around. That's the only time that you might end up going off a little track, is when you loosen them and spin them and don't tighten them up at the exact right place. Well, I'm going to try this now for a fit. And with a little bit of manipulation and grease, there we go. It is a very strange angle. If you look at this pipe, this is branded as a Vapormatic pipe. So it's just time expired, it's just old. If you look at the kink that was in that from factory, maybe, I don't know if it was in for a factory, but it needed to be in it to fit. So I've managed to get this one to fit a lot better up here. Which end was up there? Was that end. That end used to be very much like that, at that angle, whereas you've got this one nicely pushed up and got this one nicely pushed down, and we have our bracket in. So yeah, there's a bit of a kink in it there, but is it any wonder when you look at the angle that that's at, and then this is coming down here, like, it's hard to make that S shape. So it's a lot better, it's a lot nicer of a pipe than this. This thing is ready to crack, I think now, it's fair to say. A lot of dirt and kind of grime build up around there, and it's just a little bit grubby looking. So that's 2 pipes sorted. Looking down at this pipe, I'm not overly mad about the jubilee situation down here. It seems to be very far up the pipe, and I prefer to see it down there. But this pipe itself is in good condition. I will have a look through my pipes and see if I can find a better one, but I'm not worried about this one. This is the best out of the 3 pipes. If I have to, I can cut off a bit off the end there, if that is where the jubilee clip is best fitted. This is all just a little bit sloppy looking there. It's no big deal, I'm only looking to tidy things up. This is definitely an improvement. So I'm going to try and pick out as jubilees for that. The only original ones that I have, I think, are not going to fit many of the pipes at all. But I will take out any of my originals. These are original style, I should say. They're not original. That would have been an original Ferguson one. I think that was off the pipe on a air intake pipe on a Ferguson 20 diesel. So they're nice. You're looking to get a few, but failing that, I've got to try and see whether I can use any of them, and if I can use even one of them, even a set of them on one pipe, I'd be happy. So I'm going to try and see, use this old pipe as a template, if I can get these to fit that, and if they will fit, I'll fit them on there. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get them to fit onto this pipe, and if they do, I'll fit them on there. Here I'll have to wait for another day, but I'm not too fussed. So I'm after loosening this a little bit. This is going to let the radiator go a little bit more forward, and that'll help take a bit more of the kink out of this. It's meant to be in it, but sure, if I can push it forward and it's not hitting any of the grill or anything, when I put the bonnet on, good, that'll sort that, and then I'll just tighten up the lock nut. So I couldn't use any of those nice original style jubilees. It's literally just tiniest bit too narrow, which is a pity. So I'll use these. Now this one, I didn't tighten it in there because there's a flat space along about there. I used my finger just to feel where it starts, and I remember noticing that that flat space is there, whereas here is a little bit more kind of uneven and stuff, and I wouldn't say it would be as quick to seal. So this pipe is a good bit longer than the one that was there because I pushed it down good and far, so it starts about there. I always prefer to, when I'm fitting these pipes, to get them right in. And the same with this, like I wanted it to go right into the very, very end. Doesn't need to be, but especially with the radiator, if you have that pushing against there and you have this pushing against there, it does help to stop any vibrations as well, and it's a bit more kind of like rubber mounted, we'll call it. So I'm happy with that. This will all be coming off again, and the thermostat housing will be coming off, and I'm going to have to, as I said, do a little bit of a flattening of this flange here, thermostat housing flange on the cylinder head. It'll take a little bit of time. I'm going to try and do it finally now. Last time, do it right, spend the time at it. So the last thing I want to have a look at is this pipe here. As I said, it's the best of the three, but if I can improve it a little bit, I will. So the best thing to do is to take it off and see where is the best sealing surface. Judging by whoever put this on down here, I never removed this, I only ever removed it from up there. So judging by where the Jubilee clip is, it must be around there. It does feel like it would seal in there as well. It gets very sharp, kind of a curve there, so I would say you could push a Jubilee clip in there. Will it hit the radiator shroud and cause rattling? I don't know. Maybe that's why they kept it back there. If that's the case, it's not leaking and never was leaking there in my ownership. Would it look better if I just cut a bit off the end of it? Maybe. Am I being over fussy? Well, probably, but I enjoy putting these things right. But this is a lovely, lovely hose. You can see everything kind of lines up angle wise, so I don't want to go butchering it if I can get away with it. And I think there's plenty more life left in it yet. So I'm happy with this job. I think that is a vast improvement on this, because this thing is literally ready to, you can actually hear it cracking there. It's shot. Well, it served its purpose. Years of heat and stuff, starting to crack and perish. It's well perished. So that's a far better job. And again, because I made it that bit longer, I've managed to soften this kink. So that'll all just help water flow a bit more. They do say to try and keep these running as hot as possible, but it's still nice to do. When people are looking around an engine, that they see there's a nice job done on the hoses. That's where I'm after leaving it here now with radiator hose pipes. The kink isn't too bad in that compared to the Vapormatic pipe that was on it. And this definitely is a nice addition. This one, the bypass, is a really nice addition. And it's full of coolant again, and I did put grease around both ends to help with it coming off again down the road if it has to come off. I'm sure it will at some point. So that is the end of the video for the pipes. I'm also recording the thermostat housing, so the next video will be on repairing that gasket.